Hello and welcome back to my channel. Spring is definitely springing, if not sprung. It was the spring equinox at the end of last week, a couple of days ago. I'm filming this on a Sunday and the equinox was, I think, on Thursday. So we're officially in spring, regardless of whether you follow seasonal, lunar or meteorological variations. I digress. Welcome back. It's really lovely to be here with you again and to be getting just so much time in the garden this month. The weather today is a little bit grimmer than it has been in my last couple of videos. It's been raining, it's wet, it's overcast. There's also potentially a lot of background noise because if I look straight out of my shed door over there, there is a group of men doing some quite serious tree surgery. They have been going with chainsaws all day. So I'll be filming with the shovel mic and hope to sort of cut out as much of that as possible for you. I don't have loads planned in the garden today. I have a couple of seeds to get sowing. I want to sow some. I'm sowing cauliflowers mainly just because they're here. We'll see if we get anything out of them. I've got sunflower seeds to sow because I really missed sunflowers in the allotment last year in the garden. I've got some lettuces because lettuces are on the list of things that I want to be self-sufficient in this year. I managed to achieve that most years, apart from I didn't really sow enough or get enough infrastructure in place to have lettuces over winter. I got a few, but not loads. And then I'm also going to have another go at sowing asparagus. I sowed this same seed of asparagus this time last year indoors in a seed tray. And it germinated beautifully. But the seed tray was quite shallow. And when I went to transplant the asparagus, little mini baby plants, into bigger pots, they all just died. So this time I'm going to plant them or sow them in a much deeper pot, and I'm just going to leave them there until I am ready to plant them out and not transplant them at all and hope that that works. So that's a little mission for today, and I think it's time we did a tour because so much is happening outside in the garden. It is so exciting and I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you. Yeah, so let's get to it. Ooh, I completely forgot, I've also bought one packet of potatoes that I'm going to try and find something to plant into. I'm not sure if I have enough matter. I will not be planting potatoes in any of the garden beds. I'm going to plant them in pots. Worked really well last year, but I haven't yet organised really filling anything that I can fill the pots up with. So I'm just going to wing it with what I've got and hope for the best. Oh, something else I forgot. I'm such a terrible host. I have ordered myself, bear with me while I collect it. Sorry, that was a bit of a mission. I needed to get the address label off it, but I've ordered myself two garden arches, which I'm very excited about to get in between some of the beds. Okay, I've been rootling around for a couple of minutes and I found this pot, and this is going to be the pot that I use for the asparagus. I think the long frondy asparagus plants are going to be able to stay in here for quite a long time after germination, so I'm going to get on with that. That's going to need a complete reorganization of everything. So once again, I'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. All of my potato buckets are here. This is what I normally prop up the camera on. So if I'm going to have a hope of planting any potatoes today, I'm going to need to get one of those out of there. So where can I put you so that you can see? Okay, you're resting very precariously on a stack of stuff, but I think this is going to be the best angle for me to show you what's going on. With the asparagus first up. I've taken a risky decision. To clip the microphone to my lapel. I sometimes find that this gives a bit of feedback, so apologies in advance if that's happening. I've got my trusty bag of seed sowing compost. The usual disclaimer that any good quality multi-purpose compost is fine for this job. I'm filling up the pot. Fortunately, my face is off camera, so you can't actually see how much effort and grimacing is going into that. That was really awkward. I definitely made that harder than it needed to be. Okay. Soil's topped up, and then I'm just going to push it down. Oops. Okay, apparently you can be a bit too precariously balanced, so we're just going to have to go with this and hope for the best. The pot is full. I'm just pushing it down. This is to give a nice firm surface area for the asparagus seeds to germinate in. This is a asparagus, I think it's Conover's Colossal, exceptionally high yielding variety to be sown March to April with a harvest May to June, but May to June in like 3 or 4 years time. I think if you're sowing from seed it's an extra year, so yeah, it'll be 4 years from now that these would be ready. And it just says sow thinly, cover with 1.5 centimeters of fine compost, firm gently and keep moist. Cover with glass, polythene or propagator lid. Keep it approximately 20 to 25 degrees, and seedlings appear 21 to 35 days. So there's quite a long germination on these. Okay, now that that's done, handy knife to open the packet. Can't remember what the asparagus seeds look like. Ah, wow. They're quite large. Where can you see them best? In my hand? There. They look like teeny tiny conkers. So they're quite large black seeds and they're quite hard. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And just putting them in like a spiral in the pot. I've lost count because I was trying to count and talk to you at the same time, which was never going to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15. I think that's 16. I'm going to put in 2 more for luck. And I think that's about half the packet. I can do some more next month or next year even, if these don't work out. Sprinkle some on top. Hack the compost down. This compost is quite wet, but I will give these a soak at the end when I finish doing all of the other sowing. And then I need a label. I'm going to use one of my chalk ones if I can find the chalk pen. Ha! Now, because these are going to last for so long, I've actually just put the year on that. And they can be found a place outside in the greenhouse. Oh, look out! The dogs are up to shenanigans. Let's have a look. What are doggies up to? Oh, butter wouldn't melt. You know, you still eating my 9-star broccoli? Okay, so that's the asparagus done. Moving on to the others. Now, I have run out of seed sowing trays, but I think this one might do for the cauliflowers. So same principle, fill the modules. Fill the modules with the compost. Press it down. With the modules, I just use 2 fingers and push. Seems to work quite well. Cauliflowers. Now, I've had mixed success with cauliflowers in the past. Generally speaking, I've had the most success when I've bought cauliflowers as plugs from the garden centre. And it also depends on the time of year that we're having, because they are very thirsty. So in really dry summers, I struggle. I might get nice seedlings and small plants that I can plant out into the allotment, but they then die off because they just want more water than I remember to give them. Now again, this is quite old seed. I'm going through and using up all of my seeds before I buy any new ones this year. This was originally seed from Wilco, so it was 99p. Actually, I tell a lie, it was 50p. This is the variety all the year round. You can find it everywhere. I have put 2 seeds in each module to try and compensate for the old seed potentially having poor germination. I will either discard the weaker of the 2 plants if both germinate, or split the module and keep both, but maybe pop one on and pop one out, so that get a bit of succession going, because actually there is nothing worse than all of the cauliflowers being ready at the same time, because they go over very quickly, I found, again because of their exceptional need for water. They just start to bolt. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Use a little label. I can't remember what the date is. 23rd? 23rd. Cauliflower. Ta-da! Next one is lettuces. Now, ideally, I'd plant lettuces or sow lettuces in just a seed tray, but I really don't have one. So I'm going to use a pot. I'm going to use just a small one. Because I don't want to sow a huge amount, because I want successions of lettuces so that I can sow small batches every couple of weeks. This pot might be too big. I might have been able to get away with a smaller pot, something more like this one, but we've done it now, so I'm carrying on. This is a lettuce called Gustav salad. It is a Dutch heirloom variety. It is a tender, melt in the mouth butterhead type, which is my preferred for salads and also to go inside sandwiches. These seeds are very small and fine. So I'm going to sprinkle a generous amount. The surface of my soil is not entirely flat because they've all sort of fallen into the middle, but actually as they germinate they will sort themselves out and wiggle around and figure it out for themselves. And I'm just going to top that off with just another small layer of compost on the top. Press it down. The pressing it down is actually more important than I ever thought that it was in my early days of gardening, so not a step to be missed. The seeds do need good contact with the soil in order to take root. Well, that's how, I don't know if that's actually scientifically what's happening, but that is how I justify it in my mind, that they need to have that good contact with the soil so they've got something to grip onto when they take root. Without it, they sort of can either not germinate or take a long time to germinate. This was lettuce, and I'm going to put the variety on this one because with the salads I do want to know which ones I like so that I know what I do and don't want to grow in future. So lettuce, and on the back I've put the variety Gustav salad. We're doing so well with the chores. I find this time of year so much easier to keep on top of my gardening plans. By the summer, I'm generally distracted by a whole host of other things going on. And late July and August I have been known to completely abandon my allotment to its own devices, which is why I'm not trying to overdo what I'm growing this year, and generally why I prefer to choose perennial varieties. I'm balancing that with just having an overabundance of seeds right now, so I will be seed sowing quite a bit more this year. Final variety to sow is my sunflower seeds. I just picked one packet at random from the, I think, 9 packets of sunflower seeds that I have in my pot of seeds in the house. I'm going to sow these into pots. The packet instructions for these seeds sort of suggest that they don't like being transplanted. So I'm going to put them into a bigger pot. They'll stay in, if they germinate, they'll stay in here for longer. And then I'll plant them in the ground when they're quite well established plants. I've got 4 pots. So I'm going to use one pot to press down. And then I'm going to do this exactly the same way as I did all the others, except I'm going to put 2 sunflower seeds per pot. This one is Sunflower Solar Power F1. Produces multiple nectar-rich pollen-free flowers. Oh, so it's a multi-headed variety. That's what the seeds look like. Oops. Don't want to throw them around. I'm going to put them, I don't know if they need to go straight up, straight down, on their side. Can't tell. I'm putting them in straight down. Oh, that one's not a viable seed. And this one's got 3 seeds in a pot. I think you can see on this one the best. 1, 2, 3. So I'll have anywhere up to 9 plants, I think. 2, 4, 6, 8, and an extra 9. A little scattering on top. A little scattering on top. Press it down. And then this time I need to write 4 labels. These are just little cocktail stick, ice lolly sticks. They are not a full packet. Yeah. Oh. The labels were worn off, but these were also from Wilko. They are wooden plant labels. Okay. Alrighty, so these all need to get situated in the mini greenhouse. Put those in my pocket so I don't forget to take them back into the house. I have decided, having been out here for a little while with you now, that there is absolutely nothing in this shed that I can plant my potato seeds into. So that is just going to have to wait until next weekend, when I hope that I will have time to go to the garden centre. Something that I do want to get better at in my garden is protecting the plants from the things that like to eat them. So as I've got the most growing in this bed, which is where I planted the raspberry canes, I'm going to try and put up a kind of a, I don't know quite how to describe it. I've got some Enviromesh, and I'm going to try and create like a curtain around it. Mainly just try and stop the cats from getting in. And using all of my garden beds as their personal facilities. I have no idea how to do this, so I'm just going to give it a go and see what happens, as per usual. So actually, as a prototype, that wasn't entirely unsuccessful. I learnt two things. One, I have way more Enviromesh fleece stuff than I thought I did. And secondly, I think it'll be an awful lot easier if I have something like a staple gun. And I'm sure I've got one in the garage somewhere. So I'm putting that on hold for another day. But in the meantime, I have harvested some beautiful kale, which I'm very excited about. That is going to be my dinner later. I think I'm going to make it a spicy roast potato kale salad with a really garlicky, lemony tahini dressing. Yeah, something that I make most years several times. It's very delicious. So I think that's where that's going to go. But kind of coming to the end of the things that I wanted to achieve today. So that brings us to the tour portion of today's video. There's some things out there that I'm really excited to share with you. So I'm just going to get straight into it from here. I am going to begin the tour, as always, from the shed door. Oh, look, more shenanigans. And we're coming out and we're going to look in the mini greenhouse first. Here are all of the seedlings. I may or may not have a germinating coriander. I can't quite tell. Nothing yet in the dill for sure, and nothing anywhere else. I mean, I only just sowed those ones, so that's not surprising. Middle shelf, really need to find a place for that cabbage. Here, I don't know if that's an Icelandic poppy or a weed. If anybody can tell, I would be grateful. More things that we've sown. No joy on the spring onions. That doesn't surprise me. Oh, I'm going to sneeze, bear with. Ooh. That was a big sneeze. I don't know how long I'm going to wait on that. It's only been a week or two so far. The lettuces that we sowed today, and the asparagus, and then the sweet peas, my original sweet peas, which are recovering quite well, but are no longer luscious. And actually the ones at the back where I sowed some extra ones have germinated. I'll need to spin those around. These were the second sowings that we did. Are looking wonderful. What else have we got outside the shed door? We have oregano. Now that is growing really nicely, possibly needs a bit of a cut back just to stop it getting untidy, but I'm suspicious that there may be cold weather on the way and I don't want to cut it back if that's the case. In the herb garden, the rosemary is looking good. That thyme is actually growing quite nicely, and the purple sage is starting to show signs of new growth as well. I am on the lookout for some more perennials to put in this space so that I can counteract all of the weeds that like to grow here. Sadly, I think my grapevine did not make it through winter. What I should do is grab some secateurs and see where there is or isn't any live wood. I'll try and remember to do that. More dead things. This bed is weird. Things just aren't thriving in it in the way that I would expect them to be. I mean, those rockets and winter sorrel and the perpetual spinach I sowed or grew, planted in September, August last year, I would expect them to have been much bigger like by now. If you look at the kales that I picked, they all went in at about the same time. So there's something about this bed. The beetroots are still really small. I don't know what's happening in here, but something is off. This winter savoury, for example, I would expect to be massive by now, and it's just still a little stunty plant. Same with the thyme in the middle. I mean, okay, there's loads of weeds in here, but that is not enough of a reason. Although, I think that might be some pickable rocket, and there might be some pickable plants in the sorrel as well, so maybe all is not lost. I think the dogs have, oh yeah, they've completely stolen all of the 9-star broccoli now. I'm quite surprised it's Eric that's stolen it and not Peanut. Eric has always been a bit against eating greens. He seems to really like the 9-star broccoli. Oh well, never mind. Let's carry on this way, shall we? Raspberries. Not a lot happening here yet. I don't know whether or not I should be worried. This one, I can see some new growth coming through. But that one, oh no, it does. There's some new. Yeah, that's all right. Just needed to be patient. The pink berry, looking very happy. The blueberry, or blueberries, I should say, looking very happy. It's always really tempting to just keep buying more blueberries for this garden, but I'm running out of places to put things. The garlic. This is going to be such a good year for garlic. Look at it all. Just need to make sure, keep an eye out for rust, which is what is rust? Is it a fungus? Either way, if you see rust, you need to get the garlics out quick. Look at this one. Look at the colour on that leaf. This, I think, is one of the elephant garlic. And by the looks of it, possibly the only one that's grown. All of the others have grown really, really well. And then, yeah, I've only got one of those. Odd. Salads, I need to start getting these out actually. I can reuse that space for something else. Middle bed, I've got a couple of cabbages. One is looking good. One is looking sad. One is looking also sad. Plus some more lettuces that need to come out. And then just a disaster. I'm not rushing to clear this bed out or any of the beds until I have something to put in it. If I just weed out all the beds and then don't have anything to put in its place, then just more weeds grow back. So what's the point? End bed. There's the most in here. But look, here's my first surprise for you. The tarragon has grown back. This was the tarragon that last month when I gave a tour, I was very sceptical. And I was sceptical when I planted it, whether or not it was really perennial or if it was just going to wither and die over winter. But look, it's back. Tarragon, one of my favourite herbs. And then I have another sage. This is a golden sage. And a marjoram, which is also looking very pleased with itself. The perennial onions along the middle. Some of these could potentially actually start to be harvested. Nestling amongst all of those weeds is some chard, and that is starting to grow. So, again, some opportunities for some eatings. Pak choy, and some more cabbages and kales, which you just saw me pick. And then, of course, this is where we planted the raspberries. And they have grown loads of new shoots, so I know that these are rooting really, really well under there. Also grown back are the garlic chives. Going to leave these a little bit longer. They're not quite ready to harvest yet, but won't be long. And over there between the kales, I still can't tell if that is grass or onions. So at some point, I need to go and figure that out. Compost bin. A job soon, but not yet, is going to be to empty the compost bin into the pig pen and then top up that pig pen with topsoil and build a climbing frame structure here for hopefully cucumbers to grow up. I am so thrilled. Look at this cherry blossom to be. This is going to be so exciting. I'm not sure. Were these buds here last time I gave you a tour? Look. Ooh. Very excited for cherries. And then my next surprise that I can't wait to show you. Wild garlic. Definitely last time I showed you this, the wild garlic had not shown itself. And now it has. And it's going to be so cool. I'm going to try not to pick any of this year. I want to encourage a really nice big patch to grow here again. It's a kind of plant that covers the ground and so should suppress the weeds, and that's its primary function in the garden as well as being edible. The lemon balm is coming back with a vengeance. This will ramp all over the place, and that again is what it's supposed to do to help keep the weeds down. But this one will also be useful for teas. I have weeded around here one evening after work because it was starting to get a bit choked out. Otherwise, I don't typically do loads of weeding. We are going to have some good rhubarb this year. This seems to be quite an early variety. I expect that I will be starting to pick this in the first couple of weeks of April. And then the strawberry plants. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, which is covering the ground and making new strawberry plants. So hopefully they'll eventually fill all of this in, and then again I won't be fighting with the weeds quite so badly. Some of these I might need to relocate once they've got nice roots, like that one. I want it to be in here, not over there. Got another tiny little thyme down there. This one is not growing quite as well as the others. Maybe it's not the right place. Maybe it's just a little plant. We shall see. Blackcurrant bush, putting on loads of growth. Didn't get any blackcurrants last year, so hopefully we will get some this year. Or maybe I need to check whether or not there needs to be 2 of them. Look, I've only just noticed this. This is the plum tree and the plum blossom. Are you going to focus? Because that is just the most beautiful sight. This has always been quite a well-cropping tree, so I am hoping that it will continue to be. Got some daffodils coming out underneath that I planted recently, and also these little pansies that we planted together last time I recorded a video. Here we are, back at the shed again. You can see the guys cutting down the trees behind me. They've made great progress while we've been out here. So there we have it, the March plot tour, and what incredible surprises that we had there. Some even new to me today. Particularly excited by the return of the wild garlic, by the amount of blossom already coming up on the cherry tree and the plum tree. The tarragon came back. Gardens and plants are just incredible, incredibly resilient. Yeah, I'm really excited. So hopefully next time I see you, I will have been to the garden centre so I can get some growing matter for the potatoes. I would have found my staple gun so I can put up some barriers against cats. And maybe 1 or 2 other things, who knows. I'm still always on the lookout for perennial plants, vegetables, fruits, things that I can just plant once and they will look after themselves. That's why I ended up with a 9-star broccoli in the garden. But the dogs have eaten it, so won't be doing that until I have created some kind of brassica cage situation. Yeah, I think that's all I've got time for today. So thank you once again for coming and spending some time with me in my garden. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do all of the things that you know YouTube likes. Like the video, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It actually really does matter, and it helps other people find the video. It might sound like a cliche. Everybody says it at the end of the video, but it is true. So yeah, I would really appreciate that, and thank you again for being here with me today. I hope you've enjoyed your gardens this week, and let me know what you've been up to in the comments below. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.